Enough is enough. Going forward, Mikal Bridges has to be the number 2 option over Karl Anthony Towns. Hit that rock. Before we get started, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit the dark notification bell to get each and every notification of each and every video I put out there. It's your boy Gmo Legion Knicks. Let's get it. So enough is enough. Look, no more of us trying to force feed Karl Anthony Towns, make this offense centered around him as a so-called number 2 guy. Enough of that BS. Look, we've tried 10 billion different coaches with Karl Anthony Towns throughout his career. I'm just talking about the overall, not just with the Knicks. He got reunited with Tibbs last year, and people complain Tibbs is not maximizing him because he's not shooting threes and blah blah blah. All this hogwash and BS. This guy gets matched up with an offensive coach in Mike Brown, who promised to utilize him all over the floor. Karl Anthony Towns had issues with that, or it seems he had issues with that to start the season. He's putting up some of the lowest numbers of his career. Your man has put up 21.7 points, but on 44% shooting from the field and 32.7% from 3, which is some of the lowest numbers, sorriest numbers of his career. And this whole idea we got to force feed this guy a whole bunch of 3-point opportunities. The guy's getting 5.3 3-point opportunities a game versus 4.7 last year. How much more, or how many more looks does this guy have to have from the outside to so-called justify him? Oh my gosh, Karl Anthony Towns, if you just maximize this, how about if you maximize Karl Anthony Towns, does that actually elevate the offense? Right? And people say, okay, the 3-point shot, you got to do this, you got to do that. Granted, when you look at his top 5 scoring games this past season, the 3-point percentage does move up from 32% for this season, this whole season, to 47% in that 5-game span of his top 5 scoring games a season. But for the people complaining about the 3-point shooting not being enough, like I said, it's actually his attacking that's helped him out. That's carried him in times of trouble, in times of pain. In the 5 games, which I just mentioned this season, top 5 scoring games, Karl Anthony Towns, yes, 3-point shooting shot up, but look at his numbers attacking the drives. His drives go from 8.3 on the average of season average to 10.8 during that 5-game span. His field goal percentage, or field goals attempted, go from 2.4 for the season to 5 for the season. Field goals attempted go from 4.7 to 7.2. And his field goal percentage goes from 51.7% for the season average to 69.44% in that 5-game span of where he's scoring the most. So again, causation is not correlation, whatever that crap. But to sit up here and just make it seem like his 3-point shooting is the only way to unlock Karl Anthony Towns, that's hogwash, because really he's attacking. If you want to even look at some of the film last year, go back to the Pacers series. Yes, in games that we won, he did well attacking. And then one game we lost, that was what, game 5 or game 4, game 5? Go back to that third quarter, and Karl Anthony Towns was a man on a mission, getting Pascal Siakam, getting Miles Turner, a lot of foul trouble in that third quarter of that game, again, that we lost, and he's abusing the front court. Now, we went away from him in the fourth quarter, lost that game. But I can sit up here and argue that utilizing Karl Anthony Towns, attacking the closeouts, going 1v1 versus man from the wing, from the top of the key, attacking the basket, being in a low post, is just not, if not more impactful than his so-called 3-point shooting. So all that crap about, oh, we got to raise up his 3-point shooting and maximize. Yo, stop all this BS freaking NBA 2K, this video game, BS advanced analytics crap that really doesn't have any bearings. Right, we got to stop this. And unfortunately, your man Karl Anthony Towns, we talk about the offense that Mike Brown's trying to instill, this off-ball offense, evolution, motion, straw, all this crap. He's suffering the most. Go back to some of these games when it's him to run the 2-man with Brunson. Now, granted, sometimes these guys don't pass him, but many times it's tough too because the screens he sets, is delayed screens, trying to do the pick and pop versus just roll to the basket immediately. And you know how Brunson likes to attack, so if the timing's off, he's not going to get the pass there. In the low post, he's had some mixed results. There's times when he's getting these guys, especially when he gets mixed onto a smaller defender and some foul trouble, and he's getting those shots off. And then many times he kind of disappears from him, or he can't get positioning down low for whatever reason. So it's a mixed result. And granted, I'll give him this. Within the flow of the offense, he is trying to be a better facilitator. He's averaging 3.3 assists a game. Last year, 3.1. So he is trying to be that sentry, that pinch post, low post facilitator. He is buying into that. But the rest of his offense is struggling. But the guy who isn't is Mikal Bridges. Now, when you look at Mikal Bridges, you would never expect him to be the so-called offensive juggernaut. I know people thought that his numbers are going to obviously moderate after he came from the Nets, where he was like a 1A-ish, 1B-ish option, but that was a janky offense, whatever. This season for the Knicks, Mikal Bridges makes the Knicks 10 points better on offense. When you look at the offensive rating, it goes from 115 to 125 when he's on the floor, versus so-called number 2 player in Cat, where it only goes from 120.7 to 123. And I'll round up the wrong way and give him, say, 3 points. 3 points for a guy getting paid 50-something million. You're supposed to be this big acquisition versus 10 points better with Mikal Bridges. Make it make sense. Mind you, this is a guy, Mikal Bridges, getting the ball at a usage rate of 16%, which is lower than last year at 19.3 under Tom Thibodeau, versus Cat, who's getting at 26% of the time, which is actually lower than, I think, the year before that, I think around 27%. But still, the stark difference in the usage rates and the impact on the floor speaks volumes. Now, granted, people are going to say, well, Mikal Bridges fits the off-ball offense a lot better and all this other jazz. But if you look at it, was Sabonis not the number 2 player on those Kings teams alongside De'Aaron Fox? Cat is a way better offensive player overall, and yet his impact pales in comparison to Sabonis. And obviously here, with regards to what Mikal Bridges has been doing for the Knicks this season. And just to go over my Dunlife's performance this season, this guy's averaging 16.1 points a game, down from 17.6 the year prior, but his efficiency has moved up. He's shooting 52.7% from the field versus 50% last year. He's shooting 41.6% from 3 versus 35.4% last year under Tom Thibodeau. And when you look at his attacking and his finishing, it's a lot more beneficial and impactful this year for the Knicks than it was last year. Now, I think that Tom Thibodeau should have been utilizing this style of play for him when he came in. He tried to do it near the end of the season and more so into the playoffs, where he used Mikal Bridges as kind of like a fourth quarter playmaker, facilitator, especially when Brunson sat. But I think it was a little bit too late. That should have been the style of play that should have been utilized when Mikal Bridges opened up his game again. He's not the quickest and fastest foot, so a little bit of space off of screens would have definitely helped him out. But Mike Brown has definitely taken it up a notch this season. The 2 minutes less that he's playing this season, people say, oh, well, that's helping him out. It's keeping his legs fresh. But when you look at the actual miles traveled, he ranks 3rd in miles traveled on offense this season versus last year. He ended 10th. And then you look at the defensive side, Mikal Bridges only moved from being 5th last year to 6th this season. Damn, this man really must have hated Tibbs, bro. But either way, yes, the minutes are down, but he's still traveling an ish load this season on both ends of the floor. It's not just that, he's become a lot more reliable as a catch and shoot 3-point weapon this season, shooting 43.5% off a catch and shoot 3-point shots versus 37.2% last year. He's shooting 48% from the mid-range, which is only down from 51% this year. When you look at some of his finishing, again, shooting 52% from the field this season, 76% at the rim. Last year, it was only 50%. Not only, that's actually pretty good, 50% on the field, but 76% at the rim as well. However, when you look at the frequency with which he's attacking the rim, last year was around 22%. This season shot up around 6 points at 28%. And then when you look at his drives, this season he's averaging 7.9 drives a game, shooting 46% from the field off those drives, versus last year it was 6.3 drives a game, and actually higher at 49.1%. When you look at the assist percentage though off those drives, 11.9% versus 10.3 last year. And we look at the fouls he's drawing, the personal foul rate is at 5.3% versus last year 2.7. So when you look at how Mikal Bridges plays this year, it seems as if, I wouldn't say he's a gravity player, but he's definitely a player that Mike Brown has relied on to create some havoc in the paint, have guys collapse into the paint to defend that, and he's kicking out to corners. You see him with great passes to guys like Josh Hart in the corner, who's now found a resurgence from the outside. Jalen Brunson's always been a really good off-ball player, could hit the three-point shot from really anywhere on the floor. Mikal Bridges has also been able to make those switches onto the bigger players, onto centers, onto power forwards, and attack them on the closeouts. And again, the reason why a lot of that's happened is because he fits better within the off-ball offense. Think about this. We have Mikal Bridges running all over the floor, curl actions and staggers, everything. Most stagger screens more so on the ball, but all this action the Knicks have been implementing, twirl action on the weak side, pinch. All these off-ball actions are creating a lot of havoc on these teams. How many times have you seen players get confused and scream at their teammates to switch on there. Oh no, you're supposed to be here, you're supposed to be here. And it gives the Knicks seconds, sometimes maybe milliseconds, sometimes half a second, sometimes many seconds to now get an open three-point shot. Now get an open drive to the basket off the fake. Josh Hart's been doing it. But Mikal Bridges creates so much havoc moving off the ball, especially when the team is too late to recover, to move rotations, and to close out on Mikal Bridges. Thus why he fits this offense better. Now, granted, people say, well, you can't do that with Cat and blah, blah, blah. I mean, no. Cat can't move off the ball. He's always going to be a gravity play. I think that they're going to always look at him as like that guy. But let's be honest. It's a lot more easier for a two guard or a small forward of Mikal's stature to move around and cause havoc versus this big old oof in Karl Anthony Towns moving around and creating havoc, right? And again, people expect him to be this gravity player, so he's probably going to get much more attention that way. But even in what Cat does in this offense, the roles that he's afforded, he's been a lot less impactful than Mikal Bridges. We got to be honest about that. Like I said, Cat is doing a good job being a facilitator over the floor, but he has not reached the Sabonis level of mastery within Mike Brown's offense, unlike Mikal Bridges, who has, and he's doing this on 16% usage this season. That is ridiculous. And let's talk about the number of games where the Knicks have gone away from Mikal Bridges in terms of the offense. Now, granted, people may look at the numbers. I think this season, for the first half of games, he's averaging 9 points. In the second half, he's averaging around 7 points. And people say, well, it's not the same. But let's be honest. How many games has Mikal Bridges had a great first half? 15, 14 points efficiently. And he ends the game with 18 points. Ends the game with 20 points. Meanwhile, they're trying to make the two-man game between Cat and Brunson work. And it's not bearing any fruit. So it's telling that you have this weapon. Mikal Bridges become a lot more efficient, a lot more impactful on the floor. And they're still trying to make it work with Cat. Meanwhile, this guy's efficiency has moved up and he's getting the ball even less. And he's still moving around the floor like freaking go-go gadget. The Knicks have to start focusing their offense on exploiting Mikal Bridges until Cat gets it. And that's not to say you bury Cat in a rotation. You don't pass the ball to him. But I think that Cat, especially when guys like Tyler Kolek comes in, as you saw in the last game against the Raptors, the chemistry looked a little bit better between Cat and Kolek, even though Cat was just literally positioning himself down low. I think Kolek many times tries to find does a better job of finding him, especially when you have second rotation players or not. So it's gonna come to Mike Brown to find the right staggered lineups, to stagger lineups the right way, to find the right rotations that make it work with Cat. Again, I still think that Cat should be running that pick and roll literally with every player on the floor. I know his legs are getting burned. He can't even jump anymore. He's on that Zachary Randolph trajectory. But I think that when Mikal's in the game, run the pick and roll with him. Have Mikal Bridges as the main ball handler, play Brunson off the ball as well, take that gravity away from the paint. We'll make it so that if that defender that's on Brunson comes and tags in, you kick out to Brunson, or you disadvantage the defense that much more because now you have Brunson outside. You really want to help and tag, or you're gonna allow whoever, Cat or Mikal, to attack the basket. So like I said, run the pick and roll with Mikal. I still think you should try to find ways to find him in the post, especially on mismatches when he has a smaller player on him. Look how quickly Cat can get fouls when we play teams with small lineups, or smaller rotations come in. Still continue to exploit that. But Mikal Bridges has to be a guy that Mike Brown has to look at as we have to start featuring this guy in the fourth quarter. When it's crunch time, I got to go to Mikal Bridges. He's been a lot more efficient, a lot more impactful on the floor than Cat. You can't keep force feeding the ball to Cat. And that's not even to say you don't utilize Cat and Brunson. Obviously, you try to make the two-man work. But no more force feeding this. Cat got to find a spot on the floor. Too many times people say, we got to maximize Cat. Look, F all that. Giannis just literally took down every freaking thing regarding the Bucks outside of one thing on Instagram, one little picture with the championship thing. Cat, we don't got time to wait for you to find your way on the floor. And I don't know what my role. You don't know what your role is on the offense? You've been here for 10 freaking years. You've been here for 10 freaking years. You don't know your role in the offense? Oh, don't worry about it. Go find your role in freaking Milwaukee. Giannis, come aboard, bro. That's it. I'm tired of it. I won a championship. No more excuses. I didn't even talk about the defense for Cat. I'm even going to try to get on that. I'm talking about just the offense. That's supposed to be bread and butter. And we eating ass and foot soup right now with you, bro. Pick this shit up, man. But But let me know what you guys think. It's your boy Gmo, lead your Knicks. I appreciate you. Should Mikal Bridges become the number 2 option on this team? Are we done with Cat? Can we revive Cat? Can you stop this drop back? Let me chill out, man. Let me know your thoughts, your comments at the end of the video. It's your boy Gmo, lead your Knicks. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, God bless.